Hello there. Welcome back to Grade 12 Accounting. In this video, I want to look at a paper two, a question of November 2024, whereby we're going to look at a question on data's age analysis. So it's question 1.3 on that question paper. So the question reads that the information relates to Timor traders, and their credit terms are 60 days, and it is expected at least 90 percent of debtors will adhere to these terms. So at least 90%. And also we take note that the credit term is 60 days. So it means the debtors have to pay 60 or less days after they have purchased our goods, or after we have sold our goods to them. So we are given the required part, which reads provide a calculation of figures to show why Timor traders should not be satisfied with the figures in the data's age analysis. So we are going to refer to the data's age analysis that we are given here, and we refer back to what is required according to the business. Remember, Timor traders requires a credit term of 60 days, and also it's expecting at least 90% of the debtors will be adhering to these terms. So we are going to 60 days is here. So it means we are going to add the total that we have of those that uh, are going with in line with the credit term that is 60 days or less. So we've got 118,000, we've got 36,000, we've got 38,000. So it means we're going to add them. The total that we are going to get gives us the total of the debtors that are are going with the credit term. So those that are over, we are not going to include them on this one, so that we can see that it's reaching the 90% data mark that is required for those that are adhering to the term. So we go to our answer section, and we are going to calculate it as such, whereby we are saying we have 118,000 plus 36,000. And then we also add 38,000, that is on 60 days. So the answer that we are going to get there, we are going to say over the total that we have. So if you refer back, you'll see that the total, we've got 240,000. So this is going to be our denominator. Then we multiply by 100 over 1 to get the percentage. So if you simplify it further, we add on what we have on the numerator, 118,000 plus 36,000 plus 38,000. You're going to get it as 192,000. Then we'll say over 240,000, and then you multiply by 100 over 1, and then if you calculate, and see that you are going to get 80%. So we're going to see that this 80% is less than the 90% mark that is required. So it means obviously they cannot be satisfied with such a scenario whereby the required mark that we have was we have at least 90% of data that are adhering to the term. But in this case, we only have 80%, which is below the stipulated mark. So that's why Timothy just should not be satisfied with the figure. So that's what we have on the first part, that is 1.3.1. Then we go to the second part, which is saying, explain 2 points of advice that you offer to the owner. Note that a maximum discount is granted to debtors who settle on their accounts timelessly, and then also interest in the accepted rate is being charged. So obviously the 2 points of advice that we are going to offer in terms of the data, so that they abide by the credit term, are not going to be part of the point one and point two, because of course the Timor traders are obviously granting a maximum discount, and also they are charging interest, which can be ways again that can be used to make the debtors pay within the credit term. So try to look at Other options are that we can include in terms of the points. We are going to say, and we have got 1.3.2. We can also have uh, Timo traders can encourage customers to pay using debit orders to avoid delayed payments. We can encourage the issue of EFTs, debit orders, so that we avoid the issue of delayed payments. So that can be the point that we have. So we are saying encourage uh, the use of debit orders when paying to avoid delayed payments. So we look for the other points that we can also include. They can also implement the issue of automated reminder systems in the form of SMS. It might be emails, or they can even engage phone calls. So in that case, they are trying to limit the delayed payments. So we can say also implement implement automated reminder system. It might be through SMS. It can also be email, or also we can engage phone calls. So basically, this is what we have in terms of, we refer back at our question. You're going to see that our question is saying explain 2 points. So another point that we can also include, they can also offer various payment options. Obviously, we are saying in terms of paying, it should be flexible. That if the debtors want to pay, when they have a different method of payment, they can also pay, so that we avoid the issue of delayed payment. So basically, this is what we have, and then we move on to the second part of our question, which is now 1.4, which is on value added tax. The question reads that the following information relates to the financial records of Zaba stores for the VAT period ended 31 August 2024. 15% VAT is applicable. Certain items are zero rated, are required. Analyze the transaction under the headings provided in the answer book. Indicate the effect of each answer on the amount payable to SARS. Refer to the example completed in the answer book. So obviously, in terms of, we are given an example which will be shown in your answer book on how to go about it, so that you can follow on A, B, and C. So we can start on A, which is saying I received a discount of 17,250 rands when settling the account of the supplier. So obviously, this discount that we are given is VAT. It's going to be VAT inclusive. So being VAT inclusive, we can just refer back to the percentage that we are given there as of VAT, whereby we are saying, if we say exclusive amount, you add your VAT, you get your inclusive amount. So representation in terms of the 15% that you are given, remember the exclusive is always 100%, and the VAT amount is 15%. So that makes the inclusive amount 100% plus 15%, you get your 115%. So basically, this is what we have. So the figure that we are given on A is a VAT inclusive, which is 115%. So basically, we are saying 115 is equal to 115% is equal to 17,250. So the figure that we are looking for is VAT, which is 15%. So 15% is the missing figure. So it's a question mark. So obviously we use a simple proportion, whereby we're saying what we don't have is 15% becomes the numerator. what we have is 115% becomes the denominator. Then we multiply by the given figure of 17,250. So if you go to our answer section, you'll see that on the calculation part, and that's how we are going to calculate it, whereby we are saying we have got our 15 over 115, and then the given figure that we have is 17,250 rands. So this is what we have. And then if you calculate like that, the VAT amount that you are going to get is 2,250 rands. The effect on VAT payable to SARS, if you refer back there, you would see that this is a discount that has been received. So whenever the business is receiving money, it's going to be a VAT output. So on VAT output, it indicates an increase. Remember, the question is saying um, indicate the effect each answer on the amount payable to SARS. So it requires us to include that is it an increase that will indicate it to the positive, or is it a decrease indicated to the negative. So in this case, we are saying it's an increase, and we indicate it with a positive. So it's an increase of the amount of the VAT payable to SARS. So we go to the next part, whereby then merchandise. We have got part B, which means merchandise amounting to 139,200 rands are VAT exclusive. So this amount that we have is VAT exclusive, including zero-rated items of 9,200 rands were sold on credit. So we can see that we have got 9,200 inside 139,200. So we have to first remove the zero rated, because zero rated means that amount is not supposed to be charged the VAT. So say 139,200 minus 9,200, and then the answer that we get we multiply by 15%. So basically we can say on our calculation, we are saying 15%, obviously. We multiply it by the amount that we are given is 139,200, and then we subtract the zero rated, which is 9,200 rands. So basically, this is what we have. And then if we simplify it further, 15%, we convert it to a decimal, it becomes 0.15. And then if you subtract that, 139,000, 139,200, we subtract 9,200, and see what we get there. So if you subtract, you see that you are going to get 130,000. So we calculate it like that. So we multiply by 0.15. You're going to get your amount is 19,500. Then we refer back to the transaction whereby it's saying merchandise amounting to 130,200, including zero-rated items, were sold. So they were sold, so the business is receiving money. So whenever the business is receiving money, we are saying it's VAT output. So it increases the amount payable to SARS. So again, we have an increase, which is a positive. Then we go to C, whereby C is saying what merchandise on credit. So this one is we are buying, so the business is now paying money. So in this case, it becomes VAT input. And when it's VAT input, it's SARS, which is supposed to pay the business the amount. So it's amount payable by SARS. Of course, in terms of our presentation, we are going to show it as a decrease here on the amount payable to SARS. So and then the information that we're given is that the invoice received total to 23,000 VAT inclusive. So there's VAT inside our 23,000. Trade discount of 10% was incorrectly omitted from the invoice. So we have to remove the trade discount first. Remember, if you trade discount is going to reduce this amount by 10%. So basically, remember this amount is 100%. I will subtract the 10%, that is the trade discount figure, and then you get your 90%. So that is what we have. And then we first remove the sales discount, and then we calculate the VAT amount. So basically, we are saying 23,000 times 90%, which is 0.9 as a decimal. 9% is 90% as a decimal is 0.9. So we multiply it by 23,000. Then the answer that we get now, we multiply now, we make the representation of the proportions that we have. Remember, this is VAT inclusive, and VAT inclusive is indicated by 115%. So we are saying 115% is equal to the answer that we are going to get after you have multiplied our 0.9 times 23,000. So we can start by saying 0.9 times 23,000, and we'll see what you get there. So we are going to get your 20,700. So here you get your 20,700, and this is going to represent your 115 because it's VAT inclusive, 20,700. So the figure that we want is 15%. So we make simple proportion now, we say 15 over 115 times 20,700. So this is what we have. So on the other section, we summarize it as such, whereby we start by saying 23,000, we multiply it by 90%, which is 90 over 100. So the answer that we get now, we multiply it again by 15 over 115, which is exactly what we have done here, as we had lastly indicated in this form. So in this case, if you multiply it like that, you see that the answer that you are going to get is 2,700. Remember, we said according to what we are given is that they bought merchandise on credit. So this is obviously going to be a VAT input of 2,700, which is going to decrease effect on VAT payable to SARS. So we have decreased, which we are going to indicate as a negative. So basically, this is what we have, guys, according to this question of November 2024. Thank you for listening. We will meet again in the next video.